Dirt. Pablo. Back at it with the back at it. It's your girl, Be the Dirt, and I'm out here with Kenzhero. We're having a chat about the Standard Bank Jazz Festival. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Doing good, thank you. So good to chat to you and, hear what he's saying. What's been going on with you?
Nothing much, but the music as usual, yeah?
Gotta stay within the music. We need you as a hip-hop pioneer at this stage of the game. We can't have you,
There's a lot of young pioneers. There's a lot of... The industry is opened up to younger people, and it's actually great that, younger people can grab this thing and run with it and make it their own. As much as people complain about the changing of sound, but I think the youth need to drive it the way they see fit. Yeah.
So you, as one of the first drivers, what do you think about this music change that you're referring to? Because I know a lot of people have been asking them the same question. There's been a huge shift.
For me, there's always a song that I reference to. I think it's a song by Mos Def. He says he's always asked the question, "What's happening to hip hop?" He said, what's happening to hip-hop is what's supposed to happen to hip-hop. Whatever's happening now is supposed to happen to hip-hop. If we decide that hip-hop needs to go wherever, it will go wherever we decide. And if the youth decide this is where hip-hop is going, it'll go there. So, one, it's evolution. Two, it shouldn't be the same as when we were doing it. Why? I mean, what's the point? Three, even when we were doing it, there were probably 3, 4, 5, 7 layers before us. So I like to live and let live, but the only thing that I ask for me is quality. Whether you're trapping, you can do quality trap. So I think it's evolution, and we can't stop it.
That's so true. But
we didn't like our pants sagging. Our parents didn't like, and maybe now people don't like kids dyeing their hairs. It is like that.
Never win.
No.
That's so true. Actually, I feel like a lot of artists or pioneers who paved the way need to understand exactly what you're saying, because instead of moving with the time and shifting with the sound, they're still stuck in
their ways. It's understandable because our golden era isn't the same as your golden era. And I remember like a little while ago when I think it was that Watch the Throne dropped. And I was playing at some club, and I saw kids rapping lyric to lyric, right? And I was like, that's how I felt when Biggie dropped Juicy back in the days, or Tribe Called Quest. In the same way as AKA dropping whatever, and kids in the club going, they have the same feeling, different times. So you have to allow for evolution to happen, and as much as they're gonna think 20 years, 10 years to come, AKA was the best, to whoever's gonna come after them. So it's just a belt that goes on and on. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, let's keep the ball rolling. Standard Bank Jazz Festival. How are you feeling about having and being the person who has the hip hop influence at a jazz festival?
It's very simple. My roots are hip hop, but they were hip hop that was informed by jazz at times. So I had to delve into jazz and do research. And both genres to me, I've equal love for them, jazz and hip hop, and hence the band that I'm in today. It's a jazz and hip hop band. Also, just to kind of like refresh the people who are in jazz, the world of jazz, and the people who are in the hip hop world, that these genres can speak. I don't know a lot of people who've done it, in such a way that it meets direct, and it's generations that make sense for today. So jazz and hip hop has been always my first love, and having been in a band where I'm performing the genres and performing at a jazz festival, so that's a compliment on the vision and what we're doing with Rebirth of Cool.
Tell me about the vision, the jazz vision. So jazz had its era where it was booming as it is hip hop, but I don't feel like it has the same reach as hip hop. I don't know if it's because the kids are not doing it or they're not carrying it out.
It's a very, very interesting question, in that I questioned the jazz musician of today and say, well, here's a 25-year-old Ricky Rick. Here's a 25-year-old Benjamin Jafta. They both same age, different genres and disciplines. How is it that they're not, doing the same thing? So I think it's a matter of jazz handovers. I think the handovers have been tough in that people expect, just like hip hop, people in that genre to keep a certain discipline and not explore. Because Miles Davis was once also scolded for bringing, Herbie Hancock for playing an electrical piano. So it's just the purest way. Purists are always in the way of evolution. So me being in this space is kind of injecting that idea of you don't have to just always play straight jazz and straight ahead jazz. You can also do interpretations of hip hop, because there's songs that hip hop have sampled from jazz. So you can take all the exactly. So I also think it's the conduct, because hip hop is a genre. There's a way you conduct yourself. There's branding, different type of branding, presentation. There's much more vigor and hunger and very, very, very evident success, sort of like hunger, and it's cool. So I don't know if jazz artists are able to apply that, but I think that's where it is. Yeah.
I think that it's very important to create a new wave, and if you're gonna be incorporating hip hop and jazz together, and there's a whole lot of people who can relate to that, and that can be a new wave. So I feel like the purists, as you said, they can also be outspoken and outshined in the industry.
Music will always speak louder than yeah.
I just wish that people had more of an idea of jazz. Like I'm interested in jazz, but I've never really sat down and downloaded like jazz on my iTunes. But I've listened to it and I can relate to the music.
You are probably a victim of jazz evolution, in that it's never done in a way that it reaches everyone. So you also can't blame the audience, because the audience can't, it has to go to the audience. So I saw an interesting clip on Jazz today, and they interview a whole lot of young people, and they're like, it's almost like they don't even know what it sounds like. Like, what's that? Like, what? Like, so they don't even have a sonic reference of jazz. In fact, they have probably false references of jazz, because every festival is called Go Jazzing, and then they're like, oh, so jazz is a festival, So I think there needs to be much more awareness, and that's why festivals like the Grahamstown Festival, the Standard Bank Jazz that's happening in Joburg, is kind of like upkeeping the genre of jazz alive. But that needs an injection of young approach, get more younger people involved. I mean, a lot of the guys are involved in hip-hop and other genres by way of being musicians, where if they write music for TV or TV shows. I've seen Benjamin do a lot of stuff with Ricky. But because Ricky's a star, you don't notice Benjamin, but he writes the music, So that's another way of younger jazz musicians to get involved.
I feel like actually that's a very important note that you made about how he writes most of Ricky's songs. Yet there wouldn't be a song without him, but they're not recognized for that.
Right, for TV, when Ricky would do a live show with a band, there has to be a band leader that writes the music. So jazz musicians are involved from the background, if you may.
Damn, wow, guys, so insightful. Chilling with Kenzhero. I want to know from you, what have you got in store for the festival?
Well, Rebirth of Cool, we always refresh our sets. It's tough to always be performing the same set. So we've got about 3 weeks, and I know once we get into rehearsal mode, we'll switch up things. It will definitely be a switch up, because we're also performing at Pure Jazz Festival. So we have to showcase what we do the way we do it. Yeah.
Now we definitely can't wait to check that out. Okay, aside from the festival, what are you working on? What's coming up? Excite us.
It's different in that I'm launching a restaurant and a bar. Obviously, there's music involved.
In Brampton. It's called Art artivist. Yeah.
And that has to do with art, music, and food. Exactly.
So I'm gonna be there every day.
Thank you. So that's the project we're launching in 2 weeks, myself and my partner Bradley. There's a whole lot more rebirth of cool stuff happening. June 16, I'm performing with a brass band, not the band, just a brass band at Icon.
Ooh.
June 16. What else? And there's a whole lot more DJ gigs I'm doing. I mean, I don't do the club circuit anymore because I'm more focused on lifestyle events. But yeah, the rest. And then I'm festival directing Basha Uhuru, which is happening end of the month.
I heard something was going on last week about it. Was it just a
Media
conference?
Yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm also curating the Nile Rocks Jazz Festival in September. So much, yeah.
Lots and lots of things to do. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. Continue to, pave the way for us. Yeah. Any last words for Hip Hop 411?
Leave the youth be, man. That's all I gotta say.
Shout out to you for recognizing and understanding that, because
like you guys, it's yours to talk about in 20 years and say, oh, we messed up or we made it happen. Here's the problem. There's never proper handovers as well.
Yeah.
It's so easy for me to criticize when I didn't do a proper handover. If I didn't take a couple of people under my wings and help them and school them, that's why people always do whatever they want, because no one is giving them a guide. So, I've always never wanted to be that uncle that's always like, in my time, I switch off. So I don't want to be the guy that's being switched off to.
It's funny that you mentioned that, how they don't really hand over. There was an incident at the Hip Hop Awards. I don't know if you heard, with Stogie and Casper. And Stogie was on stage, he was supposed to perform. And he was like, I ain't going to perform this. I'm going to tell you guys what I wanted to say. I'm going to finish off this one dude's speech. And he said how you guys had paved the way. Yes. And they cut off his speech, and then Stogie continued it. Then he started speaking about how we paved the way, and Casper came on stage and he was like, dude, you ain't the shit for me, And that's exactly what you're saying. There was no proper handover.
Yeah.
Almost like it becomes a competition.
We have to be careful with entitlement. We have to be careful with judging, because before you judge, you almost have to look at what you've done to make a statement like, yeah, but the youth of today are not listening, because then the decay will then roll over generations to come, because this generation will be like, oh, no one did it for me, so you go ahead and do it yourself. So yeah, I think SA didn't have that chance to like proper school, document. And now, this is the time when we should be showing people what was happening in the 90s. Who was the best in the 90s? Who was our Biggie? Who was our, and Dumi was part of that. That's why he feels like, So in America, they know when you say top 5, Biggie is in there because people know who he is. But even then, even the younger guys are like, well, I might not resonate to Biggie because I resonate with Tyler, the Creator, because he's of my generation. But the history is there, it's written, it's documented, it's in video form, it's in book format. Where else in essay, we miss that, because then if I said DJ Bionic, people should know. Okay, I don't know him, but I've read about him. But when you say Cool Herc, he's the guy who started hip hop. When you say, Bambata, so we don't have that well documented history to do a proper handover to and say, well, because it's hard for guys today to say, I come from your generation. People always feel like, I'm here. You don't owe me anything. They don't realize that, there were sacrifices by a lot of people before you, because there's no proper communication on what happened. So yeah, we needed to have documented our own history. Exactly, yeah.
Damn. Alright. Thank you so much for. No, this is exactly what we want. This is the knowledge. you know, this we're documenting it right now. Exactly what you're saying. I was about to say that we actually are trying in our generation, you know, to pull it out. Because like even with Bionic, like I didn't know a lot about him up until I actually sat through his speech, and I was like, shit, okay, this is that dude.
Like I DJ because of him. You know, so you know, whoever DJs because of me should be informing the DJ before after him, you know. So for me, that's that handover I'm talking about. So yeah, I think we missed that boat, and that's why there's this non-cross generation of old and new.
You know, people have difficulty understanding what they don't know.
Yeah.
Which is like the biggest thing, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, and I get it. That's why I get that. You know, you come up and then you're like, I made a hit or two, and you're like, wait, I'm here. Like I'm running things, you know. And then you forget that there was a platform before you. There were people who done it sometimes better. Sometimes you're gonna do it much better. I think today's youth is doing it 10 times better. People are living off hip hop. People are making money. People are feeding their families. We didn't have that.
We have more of an advantage though, which is why it's very tricky, because as much as we know all the pioneers, we know the pioneers of today, it's only because of social media and online, and we have everything is in reach. I was gonna ask you how you even knew when Tribe Called Quest album came out at the time, you know?
It was so interesting in that it reached you in so many different ways. When I started doing events, I remember I've had to SMS, not WhatsApp, SMS, each and every person on my phone book, those 500 odd people, one by one. And that was advanced then. Before that was email, before that was flyers, physically being at a mall, giving away flyers like to people, you know. So you guys have it easy, which rightfully so. Otherwise, we're not evolving as a people. So use the tools to your advantage. Why not? Yeah.
Jeez, thank you so much for hanging out with us. New school things, Instagram handles, Twitters.
Yeah, well, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as DJ Kenzhero.
Don't get it twisted, everybody. It's KENZERO. ZH. It's a ZH, guys. Thank you so much.
Shit, like a nigga in my knees. I'm making cop that Chanel. If you don't call, then oh well. Still got that Pablo. Yo nigga slide in my DMs. Say that he whipping a BM. Ray Charles, I don't see him. Dirt niggas call me Pablo. Coco Chanel. Pablo.